Right now, right now. 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 Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been getting bigger. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your week daily morning show. We bring you the latest and everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about a major level of support that Bitcoin absolutely must hold. And we're also going to be talking about a major development from the BlackRock ETF that is a huge step forward for Bitcoin adoption that you may not have heard of because it's kind of buried in the headlines right now. Very excited to bring you today's episode of Coffee and Crypto because it is Monday, it is a new week, and we are ready to hit the ground running and really make some gains this week. Guys, I think a big breakout may be coming this week. We're going to talk about why. We're going to talk about which direction. And I think by the end of today's stream, you're going to have a better understanding of where Bitcoin is and where Bitcoin is going. So if you enjoy today's stream, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel because we are posting content 7 days a week, 6 days a week, actually, right now. Not on Sunday because we're taking one day off. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and get some of that cryptocurrency and financial sovereignty content that we're putting out almost every single day here. Really appreciate all of you for tuning in. We've already got over 100 people in chat. Really excited for today's show. We got Alex Nibo in chat said, good morning. Good morning to you as well, Alex Nibo. Paul Torelli in chat said, good morning. Joe Bollier, Crypto Mini Bike, Grand Roofing Incorporated, Philly Skills, Mike Lowry. Let's see, who else? We've got Queen, Mr. Check, Martian Yeti. There's so many of you guys here today. Leroy N49 said, morning, Jeb. Happy to catch you live. First time in a while. Good to see you, my friend. Love being here. Love going on the stream every day during the week. I'm going to have to try and pronounce your name, my friend. Brecht Reichert. I'm probably butchering that. I've got to hear how that's pronounced. Hi, Jebs. Greetings from Belgium. Greetings from America. Revelion is here, and me, Pew Pew Poom 2 in chat. Good to see everybody. Appreciate you tuning in. Let's go ahead and jump straight on over to the charts. Excuse me, we're going to actually start on CoinMarketCap today. As you can see, Bitcoin is basically trading sideways in the last 24 hours, the last 7 days, and the last 90 days. You can see they're less than a 1% move on all three of those intervals. But year to date, we are up 82%. And the reason that we're seeing that is because Bitcoin has gone through a major rally during the first 90 days of this year. We're now 90 days into this year. We rallied 82% in the first 90 to 100 days of this year, and we're basically at the exact same price level that we were at last month, about 90 days ago. Now, Bitcoin is managing to spend significantly more time at this range than we have in previous attempts to break above the $31,000 range. We've also tested the resistance level far more times, indicating that there is significantly more strength at the $30,000 region this time than there was here in April. And that stands to reason because Bitcoin has not run as far to get here than it did last time. Bitcoin had to rally from $19,000 all the way through the 20s, all the way up to 31 to get here last time. This rally, we began at 25, and we've rallied that far so far. So let's continue on CoinMarketCap. Then we're going to talk a little bit about Bitcoin, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the news having to do with none other than BlackRock themselves. All right, first thing I want to point out is the Bitcoin dominance. Interestingly, Bitcoin dominance is actually going down right now. We've talked about the altcoin cycle. We've talked about how, generally speaking, during a bull market, Bitcoin is going to accumulate as much dominance as it can. It's going to suck the life out of the altcoins. It's going to take all of that market dominance into itself, and then it is going to go on a run, and then the fruit of that run will follow into the altcoins, and the altcoins will do relatively well as a result of what Bitcoin has managed to do itself at the beginning of the run. right now we're seeing a little bit of a shadow of that. Bitcoin's gone through a pretty large run over the last 6 to 7 months, starting here at 37.8%. And then as we can see, just zooming in, Bitcoin had run all the way up to 50% at times. It's kind of hard to find, but here we go. You can see 50% at the beginning of this month. Excuse me, not the beginning of this month, about a week ago, last Monday, we were sitting at 50.03%. But ever since about right here, the 13th, we've seen Bitcoin's market dominance drop pretty substantially by about 1%. And we've seen that money go into various different places, one of them being XRP. As you can see, we saw Bitcoin's market dominance drop from 49.91% in XRP, sitting at 2.1%, to XRP jumping to 3.29% in the span of just a day. And of course, as you know, last week, in case you didn't know, if you've been living under a rock, I'll let you know, the SEC case against XRP was basically settled. There's some more findings that they're going to have to work on, but for the most part, the SEC case was settled. Brad Garlinghouse and the two other executives that were being charged with securities violations, selling unregistered securities, $1.3 billion worth of them on exchange. That was ruled by the judge to not be a securities activity. However, when the executives of the company and the company itself sold XRP to other more or less institutional / accredited investors, these big hedge funds and whatnot, that was about $729 billion worth of sales. That was considered to be a sale of security. So it was a partial win for the XRP. It was definitely a victory, but there are, of course, some questions now about whether or not that was actually a sale of securities to those hedge funds, and I believe that's going to go on to further trial. The point is, though, XRP did score a pretty large win, and we see that showing up in the market dominance with it taking 1% away. So, with that in mind, let's just keep in mind that XRP is no longer under the scrutiny of is it a security, is it not, because XRP was in this state of being defined as a security by the SEC 3 or 4 years ago when the lawsuits first started. So now, of all the altcoins, XRP is actually in one of the best positions of every single one of them because it's already been tried by fire. It's already been tried through the SEC's attack. And so now, one, there's precedent as to whether or not the rest of the alleged securities are securities or not. In fact, CoinMarketCap even has a listing here, alleged SEC securities. You can see it's a pretty long list. There's a lot of them here. There's 66 of them here on CoinMarketCap, and about a dozen and a half of them are sitting in the top 10, top 100. BNB, Cardano, Solana, Polkadot, Tron, Toncoin, Filecoin, ICP, Near, Algorand, Axie Infinity, Chiliz, Terra Classic. Obviously, this one can go and be a security all at once. BitTorrent, Dash, Nexo. All of those in the top 100 are alleged to be securities, and many of the others that are in the top 100 are alleged to be securities also. XRP has already passed through the trial by fire of the SEC. These altcoins have not. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of these altcoins performed a little bit worse than XRP, and XRP actually outperformed them for a time because XRP doesn't have that dark cloud hanging over it. The hurricane came, dumped a bunch of water on the state, and then the hurricane's now gone, and repair efforts can be made. And so that is why you've seen XRP rally 57.2% in the last 7 days. It is up 41.96% in the last 90 days, up 117.99% year to date. I'm not saying XRP's got a clear path back to $3.50 previous all-time high, but what I can say is that XRP actually may outperform the rest of these altcoins, and it may do it pretty handily. Ethereum has not had an allegation come against it just yet, but it does also have that concern of, wait a second, one day in the future, is the SEC going to come after them or not? So XRP is looking great. Reason I bring that up is because Bitcoin's market dominance is going to hover about 1% lower than it did before. Nothing really changed other than XRP gained 1% of market dominance from basically thin air. It didn't really take from anywhere. It just had a bunch of money pour into it all at once to the tune of about 10 to $15 billion poured into it in a day. So we love to see it. Bitcoin not sitting at 50% market dominance does not necessarily mean the altcoin cycle has started. What it does mean is that one altcoin has massively moved to the upside. And so we can continue to see Bitcoin gobbling up market dominance in this trend of preparing for a bull market as it leads the charge. And yes, XRP is doing well, but Bitcoin is likely going to be the one leading the charge, sitting up here well above 45% market dominance for quite some time. Then probably 6, 12, 18 months from now, we'll start to see Bitcoin market dominance come down in a major way as the altcoins have their day. But let's go ahead and just see if there's anything I want to address in chat real quick, and then we'll jump straight on over to the charts. All right. A lot of people very excited about XRP. Definitely excited for XRP. Pretty happy about it. There's also a couple of articles here. I'll just kind of show you these. You can go and read these on your own if you want. Ripple says U.S. banks will want to use XRP cryptocurrency after partial victory in SEC fight. Ripple is confident the U.S. banks will start wanting to use XRP for cross-border transactions after a judge gave the firm partial victory in its fight against the SEC. General Counsel Stu Alderodi, told CNBC. So this is something that XRP is looking forward to. They did lose a couple of customers. MoneyGram, for example, they lost MoneyGram in 2021. Huge name in money transfers, but they did lose them. But likely XRP will start to pick up more customers as there is more regulatory certainty, as the SEC has lost the majority of the case that it had built against XRP. All right, let's go ahead and jump straight onto the chart. Really excited to talk about Bitcoin today because there are some developments that I think are very important. Over the last couple of days, Bitcoin had managed to rally all the way up to a new local high at $31,800. Bitcoin put that local high in the early afternoon of Thursday, the 13th of July, 2023. Not long after that, though, we would see Bitcoin collapse straight through 31K back to support on Friday around 2 p.m. We saw a major red candlestick open, and we would see Bitcoin drop by $1,100 or 3.5% in the span of just 2 short hours. I believe the reason for this is because Bitcoin was attempting to do something that it might not have been ready for. Bitcoin was attempting to establish $31,000 as a floor. You can see Bitcoin came down to 31K one time, specifically about 31.1. One time bounced around 400 hours on Friday, the 14th of July, bounced all the way up to 31.4 at about 10 a.m. on Friday. Shortly after the stream on Friday, it did end up falling back through 31K. Clearly, there was not enough strength to hold $31,000 as support. So now we have our answer. Can Bitcoin hold above $31,000 right now? No, it cannot. But Bitcoin can confidently get up there, and that is something that we want to definitely consider as a victory. Yes, Bitcoin fell quite aggressively to the downside, but of all of the major highs that we put in above 31K, there's at least 5. This is by far the highest above the previous high set on Thursday, June the 6th, $300 higher than the previous. So it means that the bulls are still largely in charge. There's a floor being set around 29.5. We set our first bottom here at 29,450 here on Friday the 30th of June, and then we set another low here at 29.7 here around the 6th of July on a Thursday, and then on Friday last week we set our low here at 29,940, essentially at $30,000. Although Bitcoin is not able right now to hold $31,000 as a floor, it does seem at this point in time to be able to hold $30,000 as support. And we have fallen below that several times, but if I put this blue line here to represent 30K, you can see we're very confidently holding this level. Between 30K and 31K is our primary trading range, and we're having small breakouts above both, on either side of each one of those ranges. But in general, Bitcoin is generally very gradually trending to the upside with its highs, and generally very gradually trending to the upside with its lows. We are making very small and incremental progress, and that progress is big news for Bitcoin because it is helping to drive institutional interest. We're going to talk about some of that here in a little while. Now, the decision that Bitcoin must make and the level that Bitcoin must hold is already apparent on my chart. You can see right here at $30,000, not only do we have a flat level of support to contend with, we also have an uptrend. And make no mistake, this uptrend that we're looking at right here is not just built and predicated on lows that we've set in the last 3 weeks. No. If we look at the last 6 months, this is actually a trend line that has been in play for a very long time. This trend line was local resistance at the end of May. This trend line was local support in the end of April. It was local resistance in middle February. And it now serves as the baseline for this ascending triangle pattern that you can see on our chart very clearly right here. We have a zone of resistance above us between 31 and 31.5. And then we also have this uptrending level of support. If we just remove 30K for a second, you can see very clearly that this is an ascending triangle pattern of resistance that Bitcoin is attempting to break through. I'll go ahead and bring back those trend lines so you can see them a little more clearly now. But this is absolutely an ascending triangle pattern that has every possibility of breaking to the upside. But again, as we said originally, this could take till the end of July or early August. We were saying that at the end of June when we first got up here. I was telling you it might take a month to break bullish. It might even take a month and a half till the end of August. The question that we're looking at now is this. Let me just kind of frame this in such a way. There are two different scenarios that Bitcoin could play out, and we've been speaking about these quite extensively for quite some time. Bitcoin, either one, could break bullish now and rally up to probably between $32,000 to $33,000. Where do those levels of resistance come from? We're looking at Lux Algo giving us a price target on the daily chart right around $31,000 to $33,000, $34,000. So this middle level around 32.5 is a likely level that Bitcoin could rally to if we break bullish out of this ascending triangle pattern. That being said, there are also reasons to believe that we may see a correction on the 3 daily chart to the weekly chart. Some of those having to do with how high the take profit is up here on the weekly chart buy signal, that 3 daily chart buy signal that we saw on Lux Algo. Oftentimes, if you see a buy signal this high, you're going to need a break in the middle to be able to break all the way up to that extreme. Now, Bitcoin could first break out just right now in the next month. That's the first scenario. And then we would likely be seeing a $32,500 to a $34,000 Bitcoin. However, there's another scenario, and that other scenario would look a little something like this. Bitcoin could break here, bottom out around 28,545, bounce and rally and break above $31,000 somewhere in August, maybe even early September, but likely and hopefully somewhere in August. If that occurs, then Bitcoin would be establishing a little bit of a lopsided, but absolutely and truly a cup and handle formation. You can see the cup would be right here, the handle would be right here, and you might think, but Jeb, that's not a very good looking cup and handle formation. It's very, very steep on the one side, very, very shallow on the other. It's not a real small, real nice rounded cup. That's true, but think about for a second what that entails. Bitcoin corrected very slowly, meaning the bulls were holding on very tightly, and then rallied very quickly, meaning that the bears were very weak. Just think about that for a second. The bears showed weakness because it took them so long to push us all the way down to 25, and then they were very weak because it took them no time at all to absolutely just get out of the way and let the bulls just overrun them. The bulls showed a lot of strength because they were able to fight hard against the bears in the correction, and the bulls showed a lot of strength because they were able to break through and rally so aggressively. So, yes, this does not look like a traditional cup and handle formation, but if you ask yourself why, the reason is because the bulls are strong. So, yes, it might not look like a perfect cup and handle formation straight out of the textbook, a little something like this, but the reason that it looks lopsided like this is because the bulls are strong. So don't discount the pattern here. I think there is a lot of reason to believe that Bitcoin could rally from there. If Bitcoin does go through with that cup and handle formation, it would make sense if Bitcoin broke below this uptrend and fell down to this uptrend. You normally have in a cup and handle formation two trends: a flat level of resistance or a zone of resistance, either a level or a zone. You have your primary cup, then you have your handle, and the bottom of the cup and the bottom of the handle give you a trend line, or there's already a trend line that establishes where those bottoms are going to be. In this case, there is a perfect market structural trend line that gives us clarity on where that bottom may be. If Bitcoin breaks bearish here over the next couple of days, and we'll talk about that in a moment. If Bitcoin breaks bearish here over the next couple of days, a correction down to 28,545, or a correction down to this uptrending level of support, or a correction to both, they intersect here on the 11th of August, would be in order. And that would be a very healthy movement because it would mean that Bitcoin would have a healthy correction to move up to the next level. You don't just want to go and go and go and go and go and never take a break on Bitcoin. Let me just give you an example. The Lord gave us a Sabbath because he wants us to rest as 1 day a week. Whenever you're working out, it's a very good idea not to go to the gym 7 days a week, or at least not strength train 7 days a week. If you are working a job, it's a very good idea not to work the job 7 days a week because you need time to recover and rest and relax. There's a reason they call it R&R, right? The Bitcoin bulls need the exact same thing. They need that metaphorical R&R. It is a good thing for the bulls to take a breather and get some recovery before they continue. If you push yourself too hard, you will end up hurting yourself. And so the bulls taking a bit of a break right here, recovering, getting stronger, preparing for the next leg of the run would be a perfectly healthy thing. So I'm not against this at all. I would not be upset. I would not be sad. I would not be discouraged. I would not be annoyed at Bitcoin. I would be very excited if Bitcoin dropped almost $2,000 down to this uptrending level of support. We would still be setting a local bottom that is nearly $3,000 higher than the previous. And we would be setting ourselves up in perfect position to break above $31,000 here in a month and a half. Delayed gratification is one of the keys to financial sovereignty and one of the keys to success, and that's what we're talking about here. So those are our two scenarios. Either one, Bitcoin follows the ascending triangle pattern, breaks to the upside probably to 33 or 34, or two, and what I would prefer to happen is Bitcoin has a correction down to 28,545 to this uptrending level of resistance support here, breaks out sometime in mid to late August, and at that point, that's where that 3 daily chart buy signal and price target on Lux Algo probably comes in, and we would likely see a run all the way to at least $36,500, if not 40. I know that sounds like a very aggressive number, but with the amount of excitement and exuberance in the market right now, I don't think it is at all. I think that is absolutely possible, and I think it's absolutely, I think it would absolutely be a good thing for Bitcoin as well. So, as I said, let's talk a little bit about which one of those scenarios is more likely. Well, looking down on the 4-hourly chart, you may see why I'm starting to lean in that direction, that a correction may happen first. Bitcoin fell down to this level of support around $30,000, and we have been glued to it over the weekend. Bitcoin has not once set even a wick above $30,500. We have sat down here right above $30,000 for the last several days. And that does give me some indication that the Bitcoin bulls are having a little bit of trouble here on the short term, pushing us back through a rally. We just had a massive breakout that looked like it could have been a breakout that would lead us up to 33K, and the bears ended up overcoming. The bears ended up being victorious. Why? Because so many people are in profit from this movement. Think about it for a second. So many people have trades open from this movement. And so if the market's going to go to 32K and they enter down here at 26.5, they're up 20%. If they're on leverage somehow, I mean, that's a long leverage trade, but if they're on leverage somehow, or even if they're just trading with $1 million and they got 200 grand in profit, they're going to take that. And so when you get above $31,000, you're going to have all these bulls that accumulated back over here. And there were a lot of them. That's the reason the market moved so quickly. When we get up here, they're going to turn into bears for just a second and sell their position and cause that sell pressure. This is take profit pressure, which is actually bullish pressure. Just keep that in mind. The reason the market corrects when we do this, we rally and then we drop, and then we rally and then we drop. The reason the market's doing this is not because the bears are ridiculously strong. It's because the bulls over here need to take profit. It's not so much because people are discouraged. It's not so much because people don't think we'll get above 31. It's because people are taking profit from these runs over here. This does not indicate strong bearish pressure. It does not indicate horrible market sentiment. It indicates that the people that bought in over here see strong resistance and they're going to take their profits while they can. And then you know what they're going to do? They're going to take those profits and they're going to reaccumulate right here at 28,545 because there is an obvious powerful uptrend in play. Those same people that are taking profits are going to reinvest the vast majority of those profits straight back into the market and continue propelling us higher above 31K in the next 2 to 3 months, probably even less time than that. But for right now, many of the people that bought in 3 weeks ago are saying, all right, I missed this sell place. I'll just go ahead and sell at 30K. I'll just go ahead and take my, 17, 15, 16, 17, 18% profit and walk, and I'll wait for a better buy-in. Most of the people that got in over here are saying, okay, I've been in this trade for a month. I want to redeploy my capital. I want something fresh. I want a fresh trade to get in on. This was a good one, but I'm going to go ahead and take my gains. I'm going to walk, and I'm going to look for something better. And so that's where you're having difficulty seeing a breakout, because the bulls are confident that we're in a predominant uptrend, in a overarching uptrend over the last several weeks and probably on into the next several months, but they're not confident that that's going to happen this very moment. So they would rather sell here. Let me just kind of break this down for you. The bulls would rather sell somewhere right here, buy somewhere right here, and then sell way up here rather than just buying here and selling there. Why? Because if you do this trading strategy of buy and then sell and then buy again and then sell again, you are going to make more profit than if you just bought here and sold here. How do I know? Well, let's just define a couple of levels here and just kind of do a teaching on this. 26,500. Let's say you got in at 26,500. Just the exact level doesn't really matter, but I'll just show you what I mean. And let's say you sell at $34,000. These are hypothetical numbers. If you buy in at 26.5, let me get here as close as I can. If you buy here at 26.5 and you sell at 34, you're going to make 28%. But if you buy in here at 26.5 and you sell at 31, let's just call it 31, that's 17%. You sell in and then you buy down here at 28.5 and then you sell at 34%. That's another 19%. So what is it? 17 plus 19, that's 36%, as opposed to, as you can see here, 28%. So that's a full 8% more profit because they ended up essentially shorting this trade. Even if they didn't go into a short position, they sold here and bought down here. So even if they don't go into a short trade, they basically did short the market by selling here and buying in down here. And so that's where quite a lot of your sell pressure is coming in right now. It's not so much that the bears are selling the market, at least not that I can tell, because there is a lot of accumulation going in on the back end. It is bulls selling here, prepared to buy here, so that they can sell again up here. It is bulls trying to make the most of their trade and short the major corrective movements because they see one coming. And so if we don't break to the upside right now, if we don't break all the way up here right now, I'm actually very happy about that because one, it'd be healthier for the market, but two, it would also make those bulls more money, meaning that they have more sway over the market because it means that they have a higher proportion of the capital. Let me explain what I mean. If the bull buys here, sells here, buys here, and sells here, he's going to make more money than if he just bought here and sold here, as I just described. That means that the bull, respectively, is going to have more money than he had, and the bear is probably going to have less money than he had, swinging the weight of power and the balance of power into the bull's camp. On top of that, it is also going to strengthen the Bitcoin market, and that is also going to give the bulls even more exuberance about Bitcoin because they just made even more money than they would have otherwise if they just bought here and sold here and didn't get that opportunity to short this movement, even if simply just by being out of the market, because it didn't happen. If we break straight up to this point, then that doesn't swing the balance of power as far into the favor of the bulls because they don't get the opportunity to short the market in this movement right here. I know that's pretty technical, but I hope you're following what I'm saying. Bitcoin going through a correction, putting in that cup and handle formation would not only be the most healthy thing for the Bitcoin market. If you're a trader, it's also going to help you have the opportunity to make the most money, and it's also going to help shift the balance of power from the bears to the bulls even further. So, should this uptrending level of support hold? Yes, I would love for it to hold. The uptrending level of support that I actually care about Bitcoin holding is the one that's this predominant uptrend that we've been seeing for the last several months. This one right here, right there. And I care about 28,545 holding. If those two hold, then we are going to be in good shape. And I believe you'll see a $40,000 Bitcoin before year's end, at least a $35,000 to $36,000 Bitcoin before year's end. I do believe I still have my long-term chart up. It is an absolute mess because I love to leave a bunch of trend lines up. Sue me. My price target for the end of the year ever since March has been $35,000 to $50,000. If we get above 35, then we'll be in that zone. And I would be quite happy about that development. Love to hear your thoughts on that analysis that we just did. Really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. We've got another 15 minutes here, and let's go ahead and read a little bit of chat, and then we're going to go ahead and talk a bit about the BlackRock news because it is a huge, huge, huge piece of news that you probably have not heard just yet. All right. Most of the market trades with leverage, lol. Yes, that's true. And I'm not against leverage in principle. I do think you should definitely be careful with it. However, let's see. Good deal. Now, there's a lot of people saying that BlackRock approved the spot ETF. Unless something happened in the last hour, that's not actually the news. So let me clarify what's going on. That'll be a good transition into what we're talking about here. All right. So let's see. I have a couple of just kind of reference articles I just want to point at. Okay. So what the SEC did is they accepted BlackRock's ETF for review, their ETF application for review. Essentially what this means is that you can think about it like this. If you're familiar with, if you took 8th grade civics, then you will know how the Supreme Court works. There are literally thousands of people that submit cases to the Supreme Court and go through the appellate process, through the appellate courts, and submit cases to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court does not take every case. They take some cases for review, and then they will actually bring those cases to trial before the 9 judges, before the seat of Supreme Court justices. But they are going to take some for review, and they're going to kind of look it over and give it a little bit of a look-see and say, is this something that really is very important to the actual direction of the country, or is this something that a lower court can resolve? Similarly, the SEC has kind of a similar process where they have a plethora of applications that are submitted to them, but then they have an actual application review process. They take those applications and say, okay, we're actually going to take these seriously. And so essentially what the SEC just did is they took the BlackRock ETF application and they took it for review. This is not something that happens very often in Bitcoin ETFs. In fact, I'm not sure if it's ever even happened. This may be a landmark. Bitcoin, the SEC doesn't give a lot of credence to these applications. They'll sometimes look at them and they'll say, there's no way for you to prove that there's not wash trading going on. There's no way for you to prove that there isn't some kind of market manipulation on. We can't prove that you're going to be able to have investor protection here. We can't prove that there's not going to be some kind of manipulation that could hurt the investor. And so the SEC just writes them off to the point where several companies have actually sued the SEC for not giving Bitcoin ETFs the time of day. That being said, the SEC, what they did on, I believe it was Friday, I think it was the 13th or 14th, I think it was on the 14th, on Friday, they accepted the Bitcoin ETF application for review. And in doing so, they set the tone that they were actually going to take this seriously. They are actually going to look into the application. They are actually going to take it very, very seriously. And also, at the same time that they did that, they also took several other ETF applications for review. Those include ones by Wisdom Tree, VanEck, Fidelity, and Invesco Galaxy onto its docket. That was July 14th, so that was Friday. So the reason that this is significant is because it means that the SEC is actually going to take this seriously now. The application was submitted about June 15th, I believe it was, June 15th. And so when that application was submitted, there was quite a lot of hype. That's where this massive rally came from. If you'll remember, we saw a huge rally on Bitcoin immediately following this ETF application. The application was made here on the 15th. Bitcoin ended up rallying $6,000 in a week. And so now the SEC seems like they're taking this case pretty seriously. The interesting fact here is that news did nothing bullish for the Bitcoin price. In fact, the same day that we saw that application be that the SEC started deciding it was going to take it seriously, Bitcoin would drop $1,300. So it's interesting that Bitcoin didn't rally on that news, and I think part of that is because there's so much sell pressure from bulls that are in profit. We talked about that earlier, won't go into it again, but I do think that it is something that the market is paying attention to. The market's saying, okay, we have some pretty good sentiment here, even if it's not reflective in the price just yet. I think that we may see some delayed bullish onset from the fact that the SEC is looking into this case, into this application, and that they're taking it seriously. Now, something to keep in mind is that this process of reviewing a Bitcoin ETF or any kind of ETF is a process that can take quite a lot of time. In fact, I believe the clock, after they start the approval process, the approval or disapproval process, is a 240-day clock. That is essentially 3/4 of a year, so 9 months. So we may not have a decision for the BlackRock ETF until March of next year. But don't forget, number one, there is a clock, and so we will have a decision in the next 9 months. And two, if they approve it 9 months from now, that would be 1 month before the Bitcoin halving. So we do have a possibility of massive bullish convergence here between the between the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF application approval and between the Bitcoin halving event that's going to take place in April of next year. It kind of moves around a little bit because obviously it's not an exact date. But I believe right now the prediction is April 26th is what I'm seeing. Some places, let's see, this website is predicting April 26th. Quite a few people are predicting late April. So it's possible that next March we see a Bitcoin ETF application approved in the United States market. And then we also at the same exact time see a Bitcoin having take place, which would lead us into that major bull market. In short, I think because of the Bitcoin BlackRock ETF news and because of the Bitcoin halving and the timing thereof, we very well may see this kind of bullish convergent catalytic event that will help Bitcoin to go into a major bull market, rallying above $40,000 starting sometime in the first half of next year. And I do believe fundamentals, technicals, and on-chain, all three, could be major driving factors for that movement. And it does seem that the market sentiment is starting to move in that direction. So, a couple of takeaways from today's stream. If Bitcoin goes through a correction, a couple of $1,000s, don't fret. It's all part of the plan, and it's actually a very bullish thing. Number two, the Bitcoin ETF by BlackRock, unless something updated in the last couple of hours that I haven't seen since I did the research for today's stream, has not yet been approved, but the application for review has been approved. So the SEC is going to take this seriously, and they're also going to take several other applications seriously. And three, if the SEC waits until the last minute to approve this, which most of the time government agencies that have a clock wait until the last minute, that's why they have clocks, then there is going to be a convergence of bullishness between the halving event and at the same time the Bitcoin BlackRock, the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF approval. Also keep in mind the XRP case being settled in the way that it was a huge win for market sentiment for Bitcoin. So even though these steps in the right direction in market sentiment for Bitcoin have not shown in the price just yet, they are still absolutely here, and they will definitely be impactors on the price of Bitcoin and the direction of the Bitcoin market moving on into the next several months. Very excited about today's stream. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying today's stream. Definitely give me any questions. Really appreciate all of you for tuning in. Phaedrus, I think it's Phaedrus, just became a member of the channel, said, welcome to the Jedi Younglings. Thank you so very much for becoming a member of the chat. That's very helpful. Helps keep the lights on, helps to keep us everything running. Really appreciate it. All right. Someone said delayed bullish onset. What the heck? What I mean is that it's very possible that the market sentiment shift has not reflected in the price just yet. It's very, very possible that whenever something bullish happens, it can have an impact on the price a while later. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. People aren't just going to forget about all of these bullish factors because many of them are ones that are going to continue to be very, very important. Can you chart Coinbase and MicroStrategy, please? Sure. We can look at MSTR for just a moment. I would be more than happy to do so. Martine Siebel's in chat. Good to see you, my friend. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. I'm pretty sure I am because I know we've had this conversation before, but let's just see. All right, MicroStrategy. Let's start with MSTR. They're doing pretty well right now. So, something I want you to keep in mind about MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy has been around the block and they've been here for a while. MicroStrategy has been here for quite some time. MicroStrategy, I believe, was founded in the late 80s by Michael Saylor and some of his partners. Went through this massive run during the dot-com bubble up to $3,200 and crashed all the way down to $4.54. We're talking a huge collapse. So this marks quite a lot of what you see in the stocks. And so when people saw this happen, they thought, oh, MicroStrategy's done for. Through that, Michael Saylor and quite a few of the other people that work at MicroStrategy learned a lot of lessons. They learned about diversification. They learned about protecting shareholder value. From that bottom to the top, MicroStrategy rallied 30,000% over the course of 7,000 days. Now, this rally took place largely as a result of Michael Saylor's decision to invest in Bitcoin to protect shareholder value. As a result of the pandemic, MicroStrategy was suffering quite a lot as a business, and Michael Saylor began researching different ways that he could protect the company and its interests and its shareholders without having to, go on a headhunting spree and lay off half of the workforce or something as a result of the pandemic. He decided what he could do is he could put a large portion of the company's treasury into Bitcoin and see how it goes. And Bitcoin, obviously, as you know, rallied about 800%. MicroStrategy ended up rallying 1,200% during that time. MicroStrategy also became extremely famous, had a ton of positive PR, made billions of dollars, and Michael Saylor was put on the map as one of the biggest names in crypto. During the bear market, MicroStrategy lost quite a lot of its value, about 88% of its value, which definitely led to a lot of volatility. But in general, MicroStrategy, as you can see, is still clearly trading well above where it was before. If we have our 200 weekly moving average. This is a 4-year moving average here. You can see 4-year moving average was sitting down here around 140. Right now, it's still sitting at 310. 4-year moving average is still double where it was before Michael Saylor decided to invest in Bitcoin, even despite the massive amount of volatility. Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy have been doing very well personally ever since the beginning of this year. As a result of the increase in the value of Bitcoin, MicroStrategy is up 243% year to date, and I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon, as it has continued to double down on its Bitcoin investment portfolio, being one of the largest holders of Bitcoin in the entire world. As Bitcoin goes in a bull market, MicroStrategy, in my opinion, is likely to rally even faster than the rest of the Bitcoin market. All right, let's look at Coinbase for just a second. Very significantly different chart, but very powerful technical formations in play. Coinbase launched on the day that Bitcoin hit all-time high. Kind of sad, kind of like how the CFTC, the CME futures launched on the day that Bitcoin hit all-time high in 2017. Bitcoin hit all-time high April 15th. That's about the day that Coinbase launched. Bitcoin went through a massive crash almost immediately as the bull market ensued, down 90%. Luckily, Coinbase was a company that was very flexible, and they were able to downsize and restructure very quickly and rapidly, and they're still around, and they're still kicking. They're probably going to be huge next bull market. I could see easily a $10 billion value, if not even more. We see that there's a huge inverse head and shoulders pattern forming on Coin, which, by the way, kudos to Coinbase for managing to snag that ticker symbol. That is pretty awesome. That inverse head and shoulders pattern has a price target of $228. We've broken bullish above the inverse head and shoulders pattern. If Bitcoin goes into a bull market and you start seeing it setting $30,000 as a new trading range, I would not at all be surprised to see Coinbase go through a major run, potentially even doubling before year's end, if Bitcoin is able to continue moving to the upside. If you are a shareholder of Coinbase, if you are an investor of Coinbase, I think you are in good shape. I would encourage you not to just invest in Coinbase, but make sure that you're investing in a wide range of stocks. If you're getting into the stock market, and I would encourage you to get into the stock market, be really careful about doing the pick a stock game. Most of the time, you're going to have the majority of your success by putting 90% of your stock portfolio into hedge funds or ETFs or some kind of broad base investment strategy, even if it's in bonds, whatever it is. Put something in a broad, diversified portfolio. And then, yes, if you want to play around with individual stocks the way that we do in cryptocurrency, go for it. I just want you to know there's a bit of a difference in stock trading and investing than there is in crypto. In crypto, generally speaking, you're going to say, I got this altcoin, I got this altcoin, I got this altcoin, I got this altcoin. In the stock market, you're really going to want to lean into those broad, diversified portfolios and get that long-term steady growth in low risk, medium risk, and high risk, which means low growth, medium growth, and potentially high growth categories. Make sure that you're investing in all three of those, and make sure you're investing in a broad, with a broad strategy. Nothing wrong with picking one stock such as Coinbase or MicroStrategy. I would potentially encourage it if you're an investor in the cryptocurrency market to consider those as individual investments, but just make sure you're using proper risk management techniques and financial sovereign principles as well. Okay. Good deal. Good deal. What are your thoughts on real estate ETFs at CryptoJeb? I assume, yeah, I haven't ever invested in one of them, Press O'Neill, so that would not be my first, the first place that I would put my money, but we are looking to get into real estate relatively soon. In fact, my wife is even considering a career in real estate right now. So we do want to get heavily into real estate ourselves, but if we do that, we're likely going to get into actual rental property. I'd like to get into apartments and potentially commercial real estate sometime in the future, but we've got quite a bit of growth in our financial sovereignty that we want to do first. Jeb, do you have a way in which people can reach you for speaking opportunities at conferences? Sure, you can shoot a email, support@cryptojeb.com. I would like to be able to do some more speaking engagements at conferences. That will probably take until next year, as we do have a 3-month-old, and we're probably going to have a few more kids relatively quickly, so it might be a few years before I really get into the conference game, but I do definitely have a vision to be able to be on stage and teach you guys, and I would love to be able to speak in front of churches and preach there on financial sovereignty as well, because it's all based on biblical principles. I would love to be able to do quite a lot of public speaking engagements. This might not be the season of my life where I'm going to be able to do the most of it, because we are, we're a young family, we're growing in our unity and closeness, but I do expect that I'll be able to do quite a bit of that in the future. Guys, I got to wrap it out in exactly 1 minute, but I want to make sure that you guys I want to really appreciate you guys and show my appreciation for you guys for tuning in. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Make sure to sign up for Lux Algo if you have not already. And I'm also going to give a shout out to something I haven't talked about in a while, but I absolutely should. That would be Club DeFi's Principles of Technical Analysis. If you guys don't know what Principles of Technical Analysis is, this is our course over in Club DeFi where we teach you everything that you need to know about technical analysis so you can hit the ground running and you can be a professional technical analyst as I am. There's over 60 videos. There's over 60 videos over here that's going to teach you all about technical analysis, from the candlestick formations to your oscillators, your indicators, and then I'm also going to teach you how to use those technical indicators with the principles of technical analysis, bringing it all together. If you want to learn how to do technical analysis, I absolutely encourage you to invest in your education. It is the best investment that you will ever make in your professional development. So make sure that you sign up for Principles of Technical Analysis with the link in the description box down below, and also make sure to sign up for Lux Algo using coupon code JEB30. That's JEBB 30 for 30% off at checkout. You'll save yourself $20.40 every single month, or about $300 if you sign up for the annual plan using our coupon code. I also want to give a big thank you to 2E Enterprises for your $1 donation. Thank you so very much for that. Really appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Before I go, though, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.